All right. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I apologize for the lack of makeup. Teresa, I think you have makeup on.
I do.
Teresa has makeup on, so Teresa cares clearly much more about her appearance than I do. Today we're going to be talking about the WandaVision. It's not really a trailer. It was like a tiny little teaser that released the date that it's going to be released in January. We now know it's not going to be December, it's going to be January, which makes way more sense from a marketing perspective. We got an article filled with all kinds of pictures and breakdowns of plots and all that good stuff. Didn't we get a third thing? What was the third? Oh, the magazine, the cover of Entertainment Weekly it was a big spread on WandaVision, no innuendo intended, unlike the first Iron Man movie.
Yeah, I thought
that was the second Iron Man movie. Yeah. No innuendo intended, okay? All right. We'll cut that out. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about all that good stuff. So I wanted Teresa to kind of give us a little bit of a kickoff since I'm tired. What did you think of, first of all, you freaked out when you saw the magazine cover.
Yeah, because I thought, something.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to get anything. Or I was hoping for something, but I was hoping they didn't forget about it.
Yeah, it's been kind of dead from Disney for quite some time. We've not really been sure what's happening. They released that trailer for like all the Disney stuff that was coming out, and WandaVision was in it, and so we kind of got the wrong signals in like thinking that WandaVision was still going to happen in December. And like I said, it makes much more sense. It's going to be January 15th that it comes out, and that makes much more sense because it won't be overlapping with Mandalorian, which ends the week before Christmas. You don't want to drop something on Christmas because no one's going to watch it on Christmas. You don't want to drop it on New Year's Eve because everybody's wasted. And you don't want to drop it the week after because people are still probably traveling, if you're traveling, and they're probably getting back to work and they're not as inclined to go home and sit down and watch a show. So they give it a couple weeks after the holidays, and then they drop it in mid-January, and I am thrilled about it. I'm so excited to see it, and we got all these great pictures in the magazine and on the website and all that good stuff. So let's go over a little bit what we saw in the article. So we got some new pictures with Wanda and Vision just being silly. The 50s setting seems to be really being pushed. And Teresa, I wonder if you could explain why that is.
Well,
obviously.
The obvious reason is it's the first episode, and there seems to be a lot that they're hiding with this show that they don't want us to know. So that's one thing, that it's the first episode. But another thing is that Marvel really wants this show to be groundbreaking. That's kind of their whole advertising thing, that this is going to be a different show. This is going to be groundbreaking. And I think they're going to probably want awards from this show. And, with awards, it's not really about making the best show necessarily. Not that it won't be a good show. It's about knowing what the people who will give you the award, knowing what they like, knowing what they're going to respond to. And because so much of Hollywood and TV and movies just old fogies, they want to go back to the old stuff that they recognize and use that to really bring them in. And that makes it, especially going out to very sitcoms like Dick Van Dyke that are held in very high esteem, and consulting Dick Van Dyke himself about this show, about how they should do it, and doing some very strong callbacks, which I want to talk about in a minute. It's gonna really make people think that this is a more artistic project, and that's gonna be what brings in the awards potentially.
That's one of the things that makes me very drawn to the show, is because of the very visually pleasing element and the very highly crafted, everything from the costumes to the sets. It all looks amazing. My worry is always, is the writing going to be good? And I'm a little nervous because the girl who was responsible for the Captain Marvel movie is also a writer on this show. She apparently had a hand in Black Widow, which we didn't get to see, and I'm not sure how that went because we didn't get to see. So I hope that it's going to be good. I'm a little bit nervous because she was involved. However, Kevin Feige was also very heavily involved, and I trust him a lot more on this issue.
This is pretty much his show. Every time I hear about this show, it's like Kevin Feige did this. He's the one who got it off the ground. So just because you have maybe a bad writer involved doesn't mean that they're going to bring down the ship necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she's just giving them, sorry, the cat's crying in the background. Maybe she's just kind of giving the show kind of the legs to stand on, and then Kevin Feige will come in and clean up any areas that he finds don't fit within the Marvel universe. He's much more responsible for the success of the cinematic universe as a whole, much more so than somebody like Joss Whedon, who
also, I should point out,
had
this
an
is
ego.
following, unlike Captain Marvel, it's following some other source material loosely but closely, if that makes any sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's taking major points and major ideas
and adapting
from there.
them to this specific
Yeah.
show.
All I was going to say about the 50s, just to finish that off, is that I think the 50s and Dick Van Dyke looks the most sophisticated, unlike, you know, when you have your Full House and your Family Ties and your Roseanne. I think that the 50s look the most sophisticated, so that's also where the focus is going.
And also Hollywood and people in Hollywood are very narcissistic and kind of romanticizing the good old days and the classics of TV.
They said it, the golden age of television.
Exactly, and they're basically worshiping Hollywood and the legacy of Hollywood with this show. And you know, I think it was the top comment under one of the teasers. It was like, they're going for the Emmy. And it's clear that they are. You know, they're stroking all the right egos and they're pushing all the right buttons. And I hope they get an award. I mean, I don't think the award shows really mean that much anymore, but I think that this show deserves an award. Like, I thought several other things from Marvel probably deserved awards. I thought Captain America Winter Soldier was a fantastic movie that I thought was really undersung within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that's another story for another time. So let's start scrolling through these pictures. We see Wanda now is using magic in the kitchen. We're getting a little bit more of a taste of her actual
Very
magic
Disney,
powers.
with, if you think of Sleeping Beauty, with them making the cakes with their magic. And all
Yes,
that.
yes. Disney's definitely got their hands all over this thing. So what do we see in this picture
She's
of her in
making
the
a
kitchen?
turkey or a chicken, and then she's got the salt and pepper going. That's going to be fun to watch. I feel like this is the scene where Vision walks through the door and she does her little magic, and then he becomes a normal person, and then she's like using her powers to make her
I wonder
food.
what kind of a job Vision has.
Now,
where does he go to work?
That's going to be fun.
That's going to be
I want to point out something that
oh my gosh, does he write comedy like Dick Van Dyke?
that would be hilarious. I don't see Vision as someone who does.
No,
that. Maybe
he's
he
not
plays
funny.
piano.
He's the, what do you call him? The straight man?
Yeah.
Yeah, to Wanda's the comedian,
just-
which is why I would be interested to see how much of I Love Lucy comes into this, because Wanda is the redhead. She's quirky. She's the one you're there for. You're not there for Vision. She's the one you're there for. And so it'll be interesting to see if Vision actually plays Ricky Ricardo or he's playing Dick Van Dyke. I think there's going to be
He's
multiple.
going to have a club and play Bob.
Oh my gosh, that would be so funny. Anyway, continue.
I was just going to say, it's going to be interesting because she looks like she's using her powers just so freely. She's making food with it. She's changing the furniture, as we saw in something else. And we know from the comics that that's very dangerous for her to just use her powers so frivolously.
Yeah.
And I've read comics before, not directly House of M, but other comics where she uses her powers just so freely, and she doesn't seem to realize the consequences of it, and no one else really understands her powers either, so they don't do anything to stop her.
Yeah. So let's continue on. I'm so excited for
This is
this
a big
next one.
picture.
She's in her nightgown, or it's like a robe over her nightgown, or maybe is it a nightgown or is it like a dress?
It's
I don't
a
know.
nightgown, but it's like a classy 50s nightgown.
I know, and
This
is what I've always
I
wanted
would
to wear
say
to bed.
that this
by
would
the way.
be someone from the 50s on TV showing off.
Exactly.
Again, this is the romanticized 50s. Much of the 50s TV was romanticized. You see someone, even if they just live in a regular middle-class home, they have this extravagant nightwear.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like that.
and their hair is always done, their makeup's always done, all that. It's very similar to how Hollywood is even today.
I want to point out that in this picture, she looks very distressed, and like you always get these moments of like Mary Tyler Moore. She looks like Mary Tyler Moore.
I know, right?
Where
Yeah.
there's this big problem, and you know it's going to be resolved in 5 minutes, but all of a sudden on the show there'll be this big problem, and there's so much drama, and they have to fix it, and then it's resolved.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think is happening here is they had dinner with those people, and they brought up to them that they don't have any children.
Yeah.
And now Wanda's worried, how are we going to have children?
Yeah.
And
she's probably going to have a meltdown, but it's going to be a very over-the-top meltdown over it. It's going to be, how Lucy would, fake cry, or something of that nature, or she'll go Mary Tyler Moore and just be like hyperventilating all the time.
That's what I think she's going to do. But
I
I
agree.
think that they need to balance it in the show because sitcoms have they oftentimes have very simple problems that can be resolved, and so I think that's going to be the big conflict. Oh no, how do we have children?
And then at the end, either at the end of this one or at the beginning of the next one, although I do think it'll probably be the end of this one because we see them going from black and white to color when they find out she's pregnant. So I think that's kind of going to be the end of this episode.
Well, with that, go on to the next picture so we can talk about them.
Yes,
that's the picture where she's pregnant. I think that's going to be the big resolution. And see how their clothes are changing, too.
Yeah, their clothes are becoming more and more late into the 50s and turning into the kind of the 60s. And then they go from black and white to color. So that's kind of going to be the transition to the next episode, which will be... I think we're skipping the 60s, quite frankly, and going straight to 70s. Because I haven't actually seen any 60s specific costumes.
They said that with some stuff they're going to cross over just a little bit to fit in more references and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I think that's fine. I think that they're hitting the major, at least fashion-wise, they're hitting the major food groups, if you might call it that. You got the 50s, which is very specific. You got the 70s, which is extremely specific. You got the 80s, which is also very specific. And then you've got the 90s, which is kind of a crossover with the 80s, but you've got so many sitcoms within the 80s and 90s to pick from.
I just want to point this out. Now, what someone pointed out, and I'm not sure if this is what they're going for, but I think what they might be going for is that Wanda and Vision, at least to them, are living in this reality for like years or decades. Mm-hmm. And maybe they don't get older necessarily, but that they feel that they've lived a life here. That's going to be important.
Yeah. And so let's move on to the next one. This next picture, we're seeing the nosy neighbor who apparently is going to have a major role in this show. Do you have anything more to speak to on her? Because we didn't really learn that much more.
We pretty much know that she is like an agent of Mephisto or the guy who is orchestrating all this, and that she is kind of checking up on them just to see their progress and doing things and manipulating them and pushing them to do things. Like she's the one who invites those people in. So yeah, that's why she's the nosy neighbor. I think they're going to constantly try to get rid of her, but she's there and she's like the key. I'm curious how mysterious it's going to be, if we're going to know what's going on from the outside world or if it's going to gradually be revealed.
I think it's going to be a little bit of both, but I think that we won't know so much what's going on in the outside world until later on.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to be revealed, though, in the first episode that Wanda's probably inside some sort of a safe house trying to create a reality, and that she's lost herself in it to the point that she thinks that her reality is the real
There's also
thing.
A suggestion, either that or either it's an alternate reality, or that I read somewhere it might be that she's taken over a town and they're trying to break into the town and she has them all under control and she's made it into this.
Yeah.
So go to the next picture. I really want to talk about this one. So
they're
this is a
sleeping in separate beds.
I died. Reference. It looks great.
It's so good.
And
Vision's got a mask over
on his head. And someone pointed this out. There might be a little joke here because they can't have any children and they're sleeping in separate beds.
And obviously they can't have any children when you're sleeping in separate beds. It's kind of...
But it's a different reason. But
I know. It's hilarious.
They're going to make some jokes about that.
I think so. I think that's a really good... I think that's going to be I think that we've really nailed the plot and the kind of the conflict, and it is a little bit of a sillier conflict. It's not like,
but it's something that leads into the greater Marvel plot.
Yeah,
because it appears this plot is going to be that Mephisto or whoever is going to be, he wants to get the kids, he wants them to have these children, and that's the whole reason that this is happening.
Yeah.
I just love Vision and his little mask. And that's a picture we already saw. We already saw the nosy neighbor and her leg warmers in the 80s.
Yeah. So now we've got the Entertainment Weekly magazine cover, and Wanda looks very much like Mary Tyler Moore in this. It's almost like they changed. I wouldn't be surprised if they did some Photoshop and changed her face to look more like Mary Tyler Moore in this picture, but I think it looks great. This is the picture that Theresa just lost her mind over, and
she wants. Like,
have you been able to find this magazine? We still haven't been able to find it.
We'll have to find it in person.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find it. I've been to the store at least twice looking for it. You went once. We haven't been able to find it anywhere. We wanted to get a copy, but apparently it's just not in the small town areas.
Now, one last thing, when we got the little teaser that it was releasing January 15th, we did see a small glimpse of Vision in the 70s or 80s, and he had this hair.
Oh my god.
Kind of like my hair, only a little shorter.
It's gonna look great.
It's gonna be crazy. We've never seen him like this.
Yes. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think the Entertainment Weekly magazine cover looks great. I love that half of it, or it's partially in black and white, partly in color. It just really got everybody excited. It was kind of the big splash. Here it comes! And then they started releasing all this other stuff, the pictures and the article and the teaser with the date on it. And finally we have a date. What a relief. I've been worrying about this and losing sleep. So that's the end of the Entertainment Weekly article online. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about what's coming up with WandaVision. Do you guys think that we've pretty well nailed the plot going forward? Do you guys think that there's anything we're missing? Just for some clarification real quick, Mephisto in the comics apparently is the reason that Wanda is able to get pregnant in one version.
Yeah.
In another version, she just creates the kids out of magic.
Yeah.
And then in this, there's two versions, I guess. And in one version, Mephisto is this bad guy who creates the children.
Or allows her to create.
Yeah,
them.
it's weird. It's really weird. But anyway, he's going to have some sort of ownership, or feel that he has some sort of ownership over the kids and wants to take them away from her. And that may be what's going on in this show. So that is what we got for today. I apologize that I'm tired and I look tired and it's late, but you know, we had to get a video out. I do want to real quick, just in case I'm not able to do a video, I was going to do an entire video explaining what's coming up next for this channel, but in case I'm not able to do that, I've got a lot of crazy stuff going on in the next month and a half, so I am going to probably be going on hiatus a little bit earlier this year instead of just doing December. So if you guys don't see a video coming out, that's why. I will be coming back in January. I've got all kinds of new stuff that I'm working on. I'm really excited to show you guys what's happening with potentially a new podcast, new content. You guys are still going to get the vlogs. They may not be as regular, but you are going to see a new podcast coming in January, possibly even around the same time that WandaVision comes out. We'll see how quickly I can start this thing rolling. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I appreciate all of you guys for supporting the channel. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell to get notifications when I post new content, and comment below what you think about WandaVision and what you think about new content coming on my channel, and I will talk to you guys on the next video. Bye.